Randburg now. The memorial service for late sports analyst David Kekana is currently on at the Rhema Bible Church in Randburg. Let's cross now live to Thabiso Sithole, who's our sports reporter covering this for us. Thabiso, a very good morning to you. Look, David was no doubt an integral part of the SABC sports team. He was a hard worker, a dedicated worker, a great loss indeed.
Indeed, Blaine, thank you very much for joining us live at the Rhema Bible Church in Randburg. And yes, as you can see behind me, the memorial service of David Kekana, also affectionately known as Deza by most of us, is just about to begin. The family arrived right here at Rhema about 5-10 minutes ago. You can see in the background the colleagues are coming in. In fact, a lot of people are still coming in to the venue before the beginning of the memorial service and subsequent funeral. I can confirm that David Kekana was cremated earlier, or I'm not quite sure whether it's today or yesterday, but as it stands, we know that this is going to be a memorial part funeral at the same time. What I can tell you, Blaine, you mentioned how the integral part David was, and as far as SABC Sports is concerned, he was also an integral part of SABC News, Blaine, because I think it was just a week and a half ago that he was speaking to our very own Pete Ndora in the afternoon, this following the resignation of Coach Stuart Baxter. He was in our studios, in Studio 9, speaking about, just letting us have it basically the best way David knew how. Never lost a beat, never lost in touch with what is going on. I've had him on SABC News on various occasions. He's been on SABC Sports Wars as an adjudicator. So it's not only SABC Sports, Blaine, that has lost out with the passing of David Kekana, but I think South Africa as a whole, the Cyprus sporting fraternity is definitely mourning this morning. As I said, a couple of the people streaming in, we've seen a lot of the colleagues sitting, in fact, just above my right-hand shoulder. There's Kaiser Khanyahu, the former spokesperson of the SABC. Next to him is Rajeri, who is the executive producer at SABC Sports, as well as Temba Mjiago, who worked very closely with David. Temba Mjiago did, in particular, on the Sports Soccer Zone, as well as Sports TV at 10. So as you see, things are just about to kick off. In fact, what I'm going to do, I know we've got 2 or 3 cameras right here at SABC News. We're going to try and bring you all, it's not action, but we're going to try and bring you the memorial service and funeral, subsequent funeral, as it happens right here from Randburg. Blaine?
Thabiso, he was a sports analyst, a script writer. You knew him well. What sets him apart? What made him unique?
Blaine, I remember meeting David for the first time. I just moved to Johannesburg myself in 1999. I was an intern at the SABC, and we met around the corridors in the building, and it was myself, Robert Marawa, Tolani Gwala, Gwazi Gwasa, I think the whole Thabiso Makwetla, all of us had just started at the SABC, and we went out for a drink at one of the watering holes just down the road from the SABC. And the one thing about David, if you heard all the tributes that were coming in, the one thing that set him aside from everyone was that smile of his, those white, pearly white teeth of his. David always smiling. But most importantly, when it came to his work, there was a thing about David who could immediately cut off from joking and go straight to his work. And you could approach David with any subject, sporting matter. He knew exactly what was going on. As I said, he had his pulse on everything that mattered as far as the sports is concerned. So if we speak about the caliber and the intellectual property that the SABC and the South African sports in general has lost, David Kekana personally embodied that as far as I'm concerned. I learned a lot from the man, as well as, jogging in and out and speaking to him. David, listen, we need to write a script in this. What do you think? No, Jobe, don't write it like this. Maybe you should go this angle. He always knew how to angle a particular story. There's stories we can talk about David. As I look around me, in fact, I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to try and steal Ivor Prize. Ivor is from the Department of MEC, the Office of the MEC for Sports and Gauteng. Ivor, I'm going to have to steal you here. I know you're on telephone call. Ivor, this is probably one of the men who David worked with on a daily basis when it comes to sport. Ivor, we're live on SABC News Channel. Apologies for getting you off your phone call. But I was speaking to Blaine right now on the show, and he's asking me what set David Kekana aside from most sports journalists, what made David Kekana stand out. And I said to Blaine, there's just so many things. Besides that smile, the knowledge, the wealth of knowledge in that hat.
Well, thank you for the opportunity and the surprise. But I think my engagement with David and my association is because we both are ex-teachers. And I suppose that gave him the grounding in what he was supposed to do for the rest of his life. But also David was just a likable person. He understood the dynamics of this country. He also understood what needs to be done. In his own small way, he contributed immensely. Our latest and sort of last engagements was through the Premier Social Cohesion Games, and he played a very important role as directed by the Premier. The Premier actually selected him as part of the team, and he used to be one of the team managers for the Premier Social Cohesion Games. But he also was the first program director for the Premier's vision around awarding and acknowledging ex-professionals. So David has been a remarkable person, a life well lived, short, but I think he's made a significant contribution to sport and football in particular.
Ivan, I'm going to leave you there. As once again, thank you very much for joining us. I know I just stole you there, playing just one of the people who are here to, well, say farewell to David Kekana. We all know him as Deza, a friend, a colleague, a buddy. There's so many stories we can speak about him. I mean, I'm sure if I was to walk around the auditorium here and ask who knows David and what they know him from, you'll get different versions, but all of them will remain. In fact, the one thing that are possible will remain, Bain, is that smile of his, contagious it was. And as one of our colleagues said the other day, the one thing we'll miss the most, when David walks into a room, he lights it up and everyone's going to have a quick laugh. But then 20 seconds, 30 seconds later, it's going to flip over because David is going to tell you it's time to work, and you switch on very quickly when David says so. But for now, let's cross back to you in studio. I think proceedings are just about to start right here at the Rhema Bible Church in Randburg.
Yeah, he was indeed a consummate professional, and no doubt he will be sorely missed here at the SABC. Thabiso Sithole, live for us in Randburg. Thank you very much indeed, my friend. We'll try to catch up with him a little later on. All right, now back to Park.